Yeah. 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 What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to what we do best. Welcome to River City 93. I probably need to start over that. But joining me as always is my good man, Matt Myers. And before we get started, make sure you're following River City 93 wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, share, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to share this episode with all the Kickers fans, everyone that are listening to USL League One. And if you listen on your favorite podcast app, be sure to follow the show, leave us a review, and it really helps people find us and helps pay for our bills. So with all that being said, let's get started with the episode. Matt, how does it feel to have kicker soccer back in your life?
On the one hand, soccer, good.
Yes.
On the other hand, the combination of that game plus daylight savings time was, just I was going to say something about world politics right now, not a good thing. It was mean.
It was mean. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I think I got home last night at 1, and I went to go take my suit off, and I looked at the clock, and I was like, "How is it 3 o'clock already?" Like, it just massive jump, and I was just like, "All right, my day's gonna be ruined." So it felt like I was behind on everything for like the next hour or so. Like it just messed up my whole day. But whatever. That's how daylight saving times go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a solid point. The way we got to that solid point, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had around that. But point on the road, yeah, I think you'll always sign up for that one. Not given any other data points available.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely given how we played there last year, was I'll take this one. I'll take it. And look, hey, Matt, even though the Kickers might not have looked their best, they looked a hell of a lot better than Westchester. Because if I'm a fan of that team, I watched it. Like, I watched some of it, and I was just like, oh, this is worse. This is worse than last year. It is bad. But we're not going to talk about them enough. Anymore. We're going to go ahead and focus on the Richmond Kickers. Let's start out first with this. The players that were missing in this game, and as we got the lineups, there were some noticeable names missing. Neil Sorford, Darwin Espinal, and Ethan Coates, right? All missing from the 18. Now, I believe they might have made the trip, but they just didn't play. Darwin, we were kind of aware of that. But Nils and Ethan, hearing through the grapevine, there are some nagging injuries, but nothing to be too concerned of. Just seems like just want to hold them out for caution, give them the most rest, and they'll probably be prepared and ready for when we play either the U.S. Open Cup game on the 17th or FC Naples. Matt, when you looked at this lineup, what were your first initial thoughts?
The first thoughts were something feels off, and it took me a while to figure out who wasn't there. Like, Darwin was an easy one. We had heard that. Mm-hmm. Like all the roster changes, it was literally go to the website and kind of go down the line. Like, okay, who's not here? Who's not here? It's like, oh yeah, Neil's too. You say you might hear that there shouldn't be anything too major nagging things. We've also heard that before in the past, and guys can show for another 3 or 4 months after that. So
take it with a grain of salt, as always.
Yeah, there's no the front office earned zero credibility on this front. So you got to work on the assumption, especially when it comes to injuries. They are lying, and will continue to lie and then lie some more, because that's what the track record tells us at this point. So I don't know. I think we just got to assume that those guys are broken and gone for forever, right now, until they actually show up.
Yeah. So that's how it went.
Yeah. I look at the lineup. My big question is, who the hell's playing in the midfield?
Yeah.
Had Dak, had Amer.
Mhm.
Have some stuff later on about those guys. But other than that, I was like, I mean, maybe Hayden, but then who's playing left back if he's there? But then okay, maybe Vinberg's playing left back. Then who's playing center back other than Layton? With him. So it was just a weird amalgamation. Uh, even watching that game, partly because of how much we had or didn't have the ball, it was kind of hard to really figure out what the shape was intended to look like, especially in attack. But I think what we ended up seeing was Freeman kind of dropping into more of that number 10 type role.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the best use of his skills, but it's what we saw.
Yeah. From what I saw, obviously we're gonna have two different looks at it because you watched this live, I watched this on the rewatch, and watching this game and going through it, what I was getting the feeling was like the out of possession formation and in possession formation were exactly the same. It was we're gonna keep two people up top. That was Freeman and Kirkland. We're going to try to be as compact as we can in the midfield and force them wide as much as we can. And if we can, try to keep a flat back four with the occasional of a midfielder even dropping in to make it a back five or a center mid pushing up to make it a midfield five. It seemed like that was the kind of thing around it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a little surprised too. Hayden playing left back. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if we saw him do that at all for us last year.
No, he
Uh,
was mostly. I know there was maybe a game or two he played right back, but never. So yeah, that definitely was.
yeah, so that surprised me a little bit, especially because really seemed like he was going to be Chris Moore as the left back. So him not starting but on the bench was kind of the only real surprise ahead of
Mhm.
the 18 that were there. I didn't expect you know Dorado to hop straight in to the lineup.
No.
Yeah, so that's what we
Yeah,
got.
yeah. Now once again, I watched this game in a rewatch, and I could tell Richmond style of play was pretty much the Darren mo. It felt as if now does he play this game differently if he has Niels Darwin? I'm pretty sure you have a little bit better ball carriers with those two in the team, and without that, I think Darren just straight up was like, "All right, look, we're gonna focus on being compact as we can because we know AV Alta they want to play the ball horizontally with like these little cute, intricate passes out on the wings at the top of the halfway line, draw you in, and then play that vertical ball in behind." So it felt like Darren was just like, "Look, we're going to play deep, be compact. If they take shots, they're taking it not directly in the like I don't know what you call it. Is it like the mouth of the goal, like in that area,
I have no idea what
like
you're trying to say.
like right on front of like the goalkeeper. Like pretty much like they're pushing them out to the wing to force them to take shots. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it felt like a lot of the shots came out from the wing. If you watch under the podcast, you'll get what I'm trying to say with finger quotes and everything. Um, but in the first half, Matt, that didn't necessarily work because Richmond barely got out of their own box. Like I'm gonna read you this stat. I'm gonna get your reaction to this. So AV Alta had 11 shots on target. 11 shots, 6 on target. 121 passes in Richmond's half alone in the first half. 64 of those were in the Richmond Kickers box, while Richmond only had 9 passes total in the first half in AV Alta's box.
We had 9 in their box.
We had 9.
Oh, that's
That's what
bigger.
they're saying. We had 9.
That's higher. That's higher than I thought. I mean, it's such a weird feeling,
mm-hmm.
to watch a game. You have your team winning on the road, and just absolutely hate everything about what you're watching. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was probably 4 minutes into the game before the Kickers completed a pass. And okay, maybe the first couple minutes there's the opponent just passing it around, the back, not doing anything with it, whatever, right. But even if the kickers would intercept it, ball goes to nobody. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a misplaced pass, just a straight clearance out of bounds. Long ball, to nowhere. I mean, what it felt like, to me, watching really most of the game, but especially the first half. Uh, it was an FA Cup, day to day. So you saw like Port Vale, against Sunderland, bottom of League One versus Premier League. It felt like stereotypical one of those games. But we're
Yeah,
playing a league team that also didn't make the playoffs last year. Like
no,
that
but
was
if there's any team in this league that is married to their system, is AV Alta. Like,
yeah.
regardless of what that scoreline is,
But I'm sorry, that
they
was
gonna make them passes.
like it was embarrassing to watch. It was shameful to watch. These guys looked like they were, high school, decent high school players playing against a pro team with how little ability they had to connect. Not even two passes in a row, one pass in a row. And, and I know last week I was saying what I wanted to see how this game was, a clear vision, what this team wants to be able, to do. I'm scared that we saw what this team wants to do, and that is bunker in, very well organized. I'll give that part, to them. Like they, even though they let Alta have the ball all day, like there are only one or two times, other than the penalty, when they actually looked dangerous and looked like they might really score. So some credit there, but that was an absolute chore to watch, and not just because it was late at night either.
Let me ask you this question, Matt, and this might be like a two-part question, but do you think, since this is game one and not having your quote unquote better ball players in Neil Sorford and Darwin Espinal, do you think that played into why we saw the lack of quality passes being made in the attacking front? And then the second part of that question is,
oh, sorry.
well, no,
I didn't realize there were two parts.
Oh yeah, the second part of this question is, given who we played, right? Like, do you think? Not saying you have to agree, but do you think like the defensive part of the Kickers team looks a lot? I don't want to say better. I'll say cleaner. A lot cleaner, given what we saw last year.
So I'll answer the second part first. Yeah, absolutely. Even last year when these guys tried to defend, they couldn't defend. Mm-hmm. Right. So, I think, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of these guys individually. I thought, Yann Fillion, well-deserved man of the match, in goal. I thought, back line, especially the center backs, Leighton and, Vinberg, really, really solid. Again, that, didn't let, any dumb stuff, happen around them, which, again, major step up, from, a lot of what we saw last year, where it was, kind of Looney Tunes, what kind of, coyote, type hijinks can our central defenders put themselves into a lot of the times. Hayden was, perfectly scrappy out of left back. Marana, I thought was up and down a little bit. Like I expected a little bit more out of him, but there's nothing like grossly wrong, either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought, and then Dak was Dak. What you're getting, there. So, but even tracking back, like I thought, some of the other guys, got stuck in, plenty on defense. Like we know Kirkland will work, on defense even from a center forward, position. Freeman would, getting back there. So yes, I think the defense far more, sound. Seems a lot like it's probably been a focus. First part of your question, I mean, as far as we're aware, Darwin's been out most of the preseason anyway, so that shouldn't be a surprise at this point, to them. And yeah, Niels will probably help with possession, but sorry, that doesn't account for the team having sub 30% possession in each half.
Yeah.
Like again, we're not even trying mode. in terms of possession.
Yeah. What it really just felt like was we're going to park this bus, which, okay, does it make for the most exciting soccer? Absolutely not. And I'm not discrediting what you're saying, man. But it just really felt like Darren was just like, look, if we try to go gangbusters and open this game against AV Alta, we're going to get cut up. And the reverse side of that is we're going to muck this game up. Like, we're going to, once again, park the bus, play in front of the goal. And literally, that's how our first goal happened, because it's off of what? Off of an AV Alta set piece. And by the way, Yann Fillion, you already mentioned it, made amazing saves in the game. 6 saves, 2 inside of his own box, 1 high claim. But he made some, like, they weren't the original Akira saves where it just comes down, he can fall over it. Like, no, he is, like, stretching to make these saves, fully using all of that 6-foot plus frame. But it's off of an AV Alta set piece. And if you go watch the highlight, Kirkland already starts making the run, like when he's starting to get clear. So he's already moving forward. And as he starts his run, the AV Alta player chips the ball into the 18-yard box. It gets cleared. And the ball, I can't tell who's the kicker player who kicks it forward. I can't really see who it was. But
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He got there. But as that ball is heading towards the keeper, the AV Alta player, number 5, misclears it, like just a bad touch on it, and Kirkland pounces on it. And his brother, I don't know if you saw this. If you go to Josh Kirkland fan page, there's a before and after clip of him doing this same exact goal, I think, in the high school or something. So he has precedent of doing it before. The only thing I question on is and Matt, you probably can tell better than me, did Kirkland actually touch this?
Yeah. Well, I don't understand where the conversation came of he didn't. Like, it looked to me like he very clearly scuffed, the shot.
Okay.
But like that would be, it would be, the most amazing like pantomime of all time if he was able to, make it look like that. His foot moving at the exact right angle, everything like that. Be able to sell it the exact right way, but also like the cameras would have zoomed in and identified that as an own goal. Kirkland scored that goal. I thought he blew it, at first, it was, because, like I said, he kind of scuffed it, and it was just such a slow roller into the corner. Big shout out to the combination of that AV Alta defender for an absolutely terrible header, and then
oh my God,
bigger shout out to their keeper for just deciding not even to try.
No, he absolutely did. Like he looked more annoyed than the player headed the ball back to him than even trying to go save the ball. Like he looked more annoyed with that.
Like the combination of didn't try to come out to play the ball, also didn't try to save the ball either. He was just like chilling. It's like oh, I probably should have done something there, shouldn't I? It's like,
I mean,
bro, I hope you weren't counting on padding some stats, because that was your one shot in the game to get some stats on your stat sheet.
That was. I mean, real credit to Kirkland on his goal for hustling to even chase that ball down, because how many guys have we seen go make that run, the player gets to it, and they just stop running, just automatically going. He kept going and made this goal his own. So
yeah, because like 99.9% of the time, you do the hard work, you make that run, and you just don't get rewarded because the ball gets headed all the way back to the keeper, or the defender is able to just kind of hook it to the side in possession, and you're sprinting, so he moves the ball slightly. You're not going to be able to move with him and moves along. So, but hey, this was the 1 out of 1,000 chance, and we're going to take it.
1 out of 1,000 for sure. Hey, Kirkland opened up as the first goal scorer for the Richmond Kickers this year. So my prediction of him being the Roos top goal scorer is already proven to be factually true. I feel great about that. But I mean, like you said, this was a pressure where the Kickers were under a lot of pressure. And 23rd minute, we have the foul. Now, we actually have, this is from Grassroots point of view. He sent us this video, whatnot, which we have up here, which you can tell of Dunze, possibly diving or so to get himself a PK chance there. But I mean, it comes off of like a double move where he does the give and go with another AV Alta player. Landy Johnson's a little bit late to rotate over to it, gets caught, and Dunze falls there. Now, obviously here, we don't have VAR at this level. Obviously, we know that. If we did, not only does this probably not get called as a PK, I think you might be able to give Dunze on flop it. I don't know. I'm not a ref. If any refs out there are listening to this podcast, let us know. But Matt, you're watching this live. What are your initial thoughts on it and everything like that?
So I definitely thought it was a foul. First thought is, Landon, why are you diving in like that? Like nothing good's going to come, right there. That's kind of lazy, sloppy defending. Not doing a lot for our kind of thought process of maybe Landon's really a defender. It needs to be converted. That's not helpful. Maybe that's part of the reason he doesn't want that. So he's
no, that did not mean
making it clear, like you don't want me doing this very often. A little surprised we went to the spot. I'm pretty sure it was the contact happened outside the box, but again at this level, there's no VAR, and the guy kind of launches himself and rolls like 4 yards inside the 18. Like I get it, like I understand how he saw it that way, even though I'm still pretty sure, Lynn fouled him outside the area. So what can you do? I mean, I don't want to say it was necessarily deserved for AV Alta, but I wouldn't say it wasn't deserved just based off of, again, how little we were doing anything productive.
Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely, you felt like it was balanced. I mean, like you said, it wasn't deserved, but it did feel deserved. But I mean, outside of that, really, it felt like that was most of our the first half. Outside of just John standing on his head and making saves and keeping us in this game, Richmond offensively didn't really do a whole lot. Now there was, the breakaway at the end of the half that the ref didn't get the free kick for, which I still kind of confused on.
That was odd. Then at the end of the game, almost the same exact thing happened for Alta, and he let them have that free kick. I was like, I swear to God, if they score here.
Yeah. That was very weird. But real quick, before we move on to the second half, quick shout out to everyone who has been supporting River City 93. If you enjoy the show and want to help us keep covering the Richmond Kickers and the Richmond Ivy, we haven't got about them because they just dropped their roster soon. You can do so by supporting us through our Ko-Fi page down in the description down below. It's a simple way to help with the cost of running the podcast. It also allows us to bring you interviews, match previews, and everything happening around the club and more. Obviously, with our written content from Alex on Get to Know Your Team, with Paul, with player interviews and things of that nature. So if you'd like to support the show, head on over to rivercity93.com/support. Every bit helps, and we truly appreciate it. So with all that being said, we're going to talk about the second half. And Matt, we started out the second half. It seemed like Darren cleaned things up. He went in there and he adjusted some things because there was a little bit more verticality from the Kickers, right? We also saw a big header opportunity miss by Tyler Freeman. Not going to lie, the boy can jump out the building. Even though he missed the header, he can get up there.
Yeah, I was surprised he was able to, kind of outjump whatever defender it was. I think had like 4 or 5 inches on him. Like,
oh yeah, he got up there. He cleared him. Like he didn't contest him, but I think it felt like it's one of those jumps where he got too high and he was like, "I'm just going to try." He just never get the ball back down.
But yeah, and it wasn't. The thing is, it's not about that one individual chance. It's more about kind of the mindset. Like okay, this guy's maybe what we'd heard a little bit about, a goal hawk, and he's got a little bit of athleticism to be able to add, bring to the table, and that's something that we haven't had in spades recently. We've had some tricky guys, but not necessarily like vertical flyers. I mean, we've had the big boys in the back line, but run a play, they don't necessarily get themselves up there. And I mean, Tyler's not a big guy. I think he's one of the few non 6+ foot signings of the off season, but I don't think he's far off either.
Yeah, no. We also saw another vertical play by landing it down, making a good cross there in the box. But do you like the improvements that Darren made in the second half to get the Kickers more vertical and getting them up the field? It just felt like as if they shifted their defensive line maybe 10 yards up. So if it's not directly like the last line of defense is sitting on top of the 18, it felt like now they're playing maybe 5 or so yards, is a little bit higher up. Do you feel like that at all helped the Kickers get up the field at all?
It helped a little bit. It felt more watchable. I mean, you look at the stats and they're marginally, better, but I felt like the sting got taken out of the game in the second half. Like, still fairly defensively solid, but it didn't feel ominous in the same way.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
No, it does. Because if you go watch the highlights, like I think definitely go watch on the Kickers. Like Kickers highlights are longer. It's 14 minutes versus the league one, which is 8.
Yeah,
I would say
I saw that on YouTube, last night. Like, because let's be real, the AI gets that up there, real fast, and I was like, the hell kind of 15 minutes of highlights came out of this game.
60% of it is the first half. Like literally the second half is the Tyler Freeman chance, there's the landing cross, and then there's like a huge skip to like
Beyonce.
Dorado coming on the field, another huge skip to like the 80th minute. That's it. That's it. But talk about Luka. He made his debut. Also had a big defensive clearance in the box in the 88th minute as well. But we didn't get a chance to talk about his signing. Also, Ali Sakan? Sakan. We're going to work on that. Ali. Just leave it there. But we didn't get a chance to talk about their signings. Real quick, what's your thoughts on Luka coming to the club and also Ali?
I mean, so Luka Dorado, he was at Madison on loan last year from Birmingham. For whatever reason, these guys love signing guys with Birmingham connections this offseason. It's like, a couple of years ago when everybody had a Detroit connection that they signed.
Yeah.
So whatever. But he was regrettably good for Madison last year. Like, you might remember, a certain 5-1 game where we beat the shit out of them at the end of the season. Yeah,
definitely went back and watched that game.
Yeah, he scored a nice goal in that game for them. Well, we can ask him about that at some point, very directly. Hopefully he's not bringing the choking gene with him, to Richmond. He's just bringing the goals gene instead.
That's right.
Yeah, another, I think center forward, who can be able to, come in, is a proven scorer in this league, and I think that's something that we can be able to use. Like, I mean, you think about the potential of a front line of Darwin, him, and Josh. And that could be right up there with as good as any other trio up front in this league.
It's not a bad trio to have. And look, they're different strikers. The profile, all three of them are different, right? But they all feel like they got something in common with each other. Where it's not like before, where if we were to take Emmy, we drastically have to change the way how we play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels as if now we can, if we take Luke out, we can put Kirkland in. Kirkland might give you something different, but he can still do some of the same things to what Luka does. And vice versa.
Yeah, we even saw in this game when Luka came on for the last 20 minutes or so. Like,
so it feels good.
He was throwing his body around up front. Like, he's not afraid to play physical. And we didn't necessarily see him get to have any like real good chances in this one, but I think the tracker speaks for himself. That's going to be a nice addition. Coming from the tormented trash heap.
Right. Once again, RIP Mount St. Mount. Gonna miss seeing that on the USL nights. But yeah, I mean, really, outside of Tyler Freeman's missed chance on goal, second half, O'Malley had a nice tackle. I would say this: he is not afraid of a good tackle. Like,
So
this is going to sound disrespectful, but I promise it's not. He's a more mobile version of what Zaka Moran was his last year.
interesting. My thought process, watching him in this game was he's my early pick, to be the guy that every other fan base is just going to hate. Like,
oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Like, cause
he's like I said, he's not afraid of a good tackle.
Well, there's that, but seems like he might have a little bit of the likes to work the ref, gene as well. Like, there are definitely times where he'd be down, holding his arm. Like even right before he came off, he was down, like kind of holding his ankle, and sees that he's coming off, pops up, just kind of jogs off on his own.
Yeah. He was also one of the players. It was also Yann in there, but he was one of the players. John at the ref at the end of the half, and then it just. I know he was playing out in the left wing space, kind of left mid, but I felt like his role was currently like, look, you're going to be out in the left mid space. Don't really play winger. I need you more centrally. And he was like, all right, cool. I can do that. And tackle everything in existence. So
yeah, I think he's going to be this year's version of one of these guys of like, kind of like what Chandler was. Like, what is he really, sort of guy?
Yeah. Like, I don't think he's going to give you a lot going forward, but like defensively, he's going to be huge. Like he's going to. I would not be surprised if he has a game-winning tackle at the end of a game. Like, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But the real big highlight was 80th minute. Matt, your heart might have been in your chest in this moment, but the ball comes off the post for AV Alta in the 80th minute, and then there's a line-saving clearance also in that same time period to pretty much help get the Kickers game this over the line. You got to go back to what you said earlier. The second half, it felt what this game possibly should have been in the first half. Because let's be real, like both teams scored off of like half chances. Like it felt as if like both teams kind of gave each other the goal. But yeah, I mean, I think the Kickers are definitely more happy to have the point that AV Alta, given the amount of chances they had and only able to come out of it with the PK goal. Like not even an open goal. I mean, a goal from open play, a PK goal coming from a dive outside of the box.
Yeah, I mean, definitely nervy at that point. I mean, somewhere mixed in there. I can't remember if it was before the post or after the post. Fillion had easily his best save of the game, like completely laying out,
the stretch.
Pick the ball out of what would have been the upper 90. Right there. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets like save of the week. For that one. But yeah, I mean, you create your own luck sometimes, and we've said that plenty of times over the years. Of hey, this team got bad breaks because they deserve bad breaks. Maybe this time we got a good break because we deserved a good break.
Yeah, definitely. Also, one of those good breaks, a player I wanted to shout out as well was Mr. Sean Vinberg, coming from the money conglomerate of Portland Hearts and Pond, played center back along with Dakota. But he had 7 clearances, 3 headed clearances as well, and 2 recoveries. How do you like his partnership with Dak at center back in this game, and how do you think they'll be together?
Dak wasn't playing center back.
I don't know. Well,
yes.
Who was it?
But him and Layden, certainly
him and Layden, my fault.
Seen a partner, quite well. Again, I think it's having experience in this league, knowing what you're kind of getting yourself into, because Layden seems like he has potential, but he hasn't played in this league, at this level, before. So having somebody who can kind of guide you helps. I think that might have been where things didn't always go quite right the last couple of years, because you had guys like Guy or Scheller, but even Griffin, where they're all essentially new, and there's no like, especially once Dak fully moved into central midfield, there's no true like veteran presence. Like Lodge got there eventually, and helped slightly with that, but Vinberg's he's been through the wars, and he might not have all the like absolute like raw physicals, but he's still got a good number of them, and he's seen it. He can be able to anticipate a little bit better. He can help be able to organize. Especially with somebody like Hayden next to him who will do all the running in the world, but doesn't have as much experience at that exact spot.
Yeah, no, it felt very. It felt like there was direction in the offensive line. Like, and granted, this team was still giving up chances. So I don't want you to think like, AV Alta had all this possession. They weren't, taking shots. They never had some shots with dangerous chances because y'all had 6 saves. But it felt very like there was a clear leader back there in that back line. It felt direct. It felt as if we weren't able to. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is just like it felt like there were leaders there, right? And it felt as if more secure than like past defensive performances. Like I was telling you before we recorded, Matt, about like a goalkeeper performance. We were talking about it, but like I haven't walked away from a game in a long time, maybe since the 2022 season, where I was just like, okay, I feel good about our goalkeeper. Like I feel good about that position. I'm not questioning it right now. Obviously, this is one game, but right now I'm not looking at goalkeeper and being like, okay, how do we win a game while avoiding a goalkeeper mistake? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It didn't feel like that. So yeah, any other thoughts on this game, Matt, before we, leave California with our 1 point and come back to Richmond?
Well, very happy to be done with the West Coast road trip, or the Cali version of the West Coast already for the year. So got one of the, I guess 3 big road trips, for the year. You got Spokane and Boise, still to go that are like long, trips. But hey, one of them out of the way before, mid-March.
Yeah, we don't go back to the West Coast till June 10th, so that's a positive.
Yeah,
well,
so
no,
that's
my fault.
nice.
April 11th, my fault. That's Spokane.
Slightly different.
Yeah, April 11th, my fault. So April 11th, we don't go, but then from April 11th to June 10th, that's it. And I think after that, we are done with the West Coast. I want to make sure before I put that out there. Yeah, we are done with the West Coast.
Yeah, so I wanted to see what you thought about this. What were your thoughts about Austin Amer, however the hell you say his last name?
Mm-hmm.
I have the same exact thought. I can't think of a single thing that guy did in the entire game. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's not a bad thing. But what I would say is, like, I think he's just a quiet player. Like, he does a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure if you go back and rewatch it, you just solely focus on him. He does a lot of things that just goes unquiet. Like, he makes the pass before the assist. Or he's making just like a run that just cuts off, that diverts an AV Alta player. He doesn't do anything that's like, oh, he is the sole reason why this happened. But he's probably like a key part in that cog of why things are operating.
I hear what you're saying, but also makes me wonder, is that therefore mean that he was a key cog and the reason why things weren't happening with possessing the ball at all? Like I think I would have liked if he was able to make a little bit more of an impact, whether that's at least being able to put a foot on the ball, hold it in the midfield for a second or two, even like other than taking I think a free kick that got crossed into the box. Like I'm legitimately struggling to remember like anything else he truly did in the game. So yeah, it's one game, but like would rather not have one of our central midfielders kind of be the invisible man.
And I also wonder, Ethan Cos is a midfielder too, right? If I'm sure,
I thought he was a center back.
He might be, but let me see.
I mean, Niels in there might help.
Oh no, right, no. Ethan is the center back. So you're right, my fault. But having, I don't know, man. Like having Austin Amir, like I wonder how he partners with Niels. Because you would imagine Neil is more of the ball carrier. Like he's the one creating play. And is Austin supposed to be the guy? Almost like how Ethan Bryan was in that one year, which we keep referencing, but it was such an amazing year that he had.
If that's supposed to be his role, then you got to give him a big fat F because he didn't do any of that.
Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. But I just wonder what – and look, I need to stop referencing that 2022 team because we're not getting that team again in this current innovation what this team was constructed as. But I want to see how he looks with a ball carrier centerman beside him. So I mean, if I want to give him a grade, I feel like it's probably I go D plus, maybe C minus.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stats. Thought mob stats. So who knows? Because they also thought Chris Moore was a white man.
Hey, they definitely did. They thought Daniel Moore was from England.
Daniel, why do I keep calling him Chris Moore? I don't know. Who's Chris Moore? It's gotta be some like maybe he's like a basketball player or something. I don't know. I mean, he has anyway. Amer has stats, per FOT mob. So, like, he got a couple interceptions. He had tackle recovery, some duels, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not me saying like 100% passenger. I'm saying it didn't stand out to me in any way.
Yeah.
What did you think of the what are they technically calling it? The triple crossing uniforms?
The kids?
What do you think of the What do you think of the red shirts?
To me, I actually like them. I think they look nice on TV. I will say my only issue that I think even the front office of Kickers have brought this up is just the numbering. Because it's the same numbering as the past. So when Dorado came on, I couldn't tell if it was 70 or 10. And it took me a while to kind of figure that out. But I think it looks nice. The only thing I wish would have looked nice is just like some kind of design or something on the socks. Like the socks just look like just regular Walmart red socks. But overall, the kit looks nice. I have no issues with it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks sharp. I think it's good that they're wearing the red shorts with it. Because that way at least differentiates it from the Arsenal look completely.
Which we're never being those allegations. We're not.
No, but it's not like there's not probably hundreds of other teams that have red shirts with white sleeves out there. Like I know AZ in the Netherlands has the exact same looks. I remember seeing when Josie was playing there, photos of him playing for them, and I'm sure there are probably other lower league teams in England that have the same exact look.
Another one I saw the Kickers getting compared to, which I was like, okay, that's fair, is Fleetwood Town in England.
Sure.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can. All right, that's not bad. But yeah,
I think the only thing, like, the collar looked really big and floppy on some of the guys. So I don't know if that's.
So I was saying is the collar versus. You remember last year's blue jersey? You have the blue jersey, right?
Yeah.
From last year, you know how the collar was like really tight.
Yeah.
It's a lot looser this year. So it's not like you got to unpop the collar and like stretch your head to get it through. It naturally fits, but I get what you're saying though. It is a looser collar.
Yeah, so I mean that's like the only nitpick I have on that is, I only noticed at the very end of the game. I was like, oh, it looks like these are like they're not like nice tight collars. That might just be me wearing dress shirts a lot of the time at work. Kind of thinking about that, and
You want a shirt and tie, Matt? That's what you want the Kickers to play in?
No, I don't want to wear that for myself. Going to work if I can help it. I don't want to force other people to. But you also notice when your collars start aging a little bit and they don't hold quite the same.
Yeah, you get that. What's it called? Like the brown. Well, my old professor used to call it the brown ring of death in a dress shirt, and as he was like, "That's the point to get rid of a shirt. You can't wash that out."
Yeah,
I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." Matt, we also have a few listener questions. So, listeners, once again, if you we want your listener questions. So send them in to us. We're going to be taking them after every game, and we're going to be answering them on the show at the end of the podcast. So please, please, please make sure you send a list of questions. Anything about the game, from stadium after, all of it, all in between. We're going to be answering them. So, Matt, our very first listener question right here, we have two of these. It is from TJ. He says, going forward, what do you expect the starting 11 to look like?
I mean, are we assuming everybody's healthy or?
So let's assume that Ethan and Niels are back, at least for the U.S. Open Cup game going forward. Darwin is still probably out for a little bit, but those two are back.
All right, so say everybody gets healthy, up to speed. I think our quote unquote first choice 11. I would say the backline probably stays the same, and for now maybe more hops in a left back instead of Hayden. Depending on situation. I think I'd probably think you slot Niels in for Aimer, and then you end up with a Dak, Niels, Freeman. It looks like tight midfield, and then Dorado up front. And you're not going to like this, but Kirkland shifting back to that right wing area, because I mean you got to get them both on the field somehow, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And then Landon probably takes the seat.
I can agree with that. For me, I think I'm going to stick with this 4-4-2 that Darren had. I like the way how it sets up. I think the back line, a goalkeeper obviously is the same, but I think the back line, I think the only change I have is Ethan for Hayden. Because I think when they profile Ethan, he can play left back as well. So it can form a natural back three. So that way it allows Mizeb to push up. Whatnot. This is just me. I think I would do on the right side, I would do Dorado as a right mid, so take Landon out. I probably would still keep Dak, Austin, and maybe Niels out of left mid. And that way I have Tyler and Kirkland up top.
Okay, so I think we're just seeing how the team's laid out slightly differently.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to put Dorado further away from goal if I can help it. That seems like a not great use of his talents, but
you see, I think in this part, another reason I put him at right mid is just so he can parallel and measure up, so he can still get towards goal. Like I don't have him like stuck in as like a defensive right mid. That's why I put Niels on the left side. He could probably be more. I see him more as a drifty striker. So like he'll drift and have the freedom to run wherever he wants to pick up the ball in spaces and kind of go at goal, which I'm hoping will open up free lanes for Freeman and Kirkland going forward.
Okay.
So that's what I'm hoping. Second question we have is from Alex. The second half was definitely more defense ball than anything else. What are your thoughts on the defense? And secondly, when there were those slow moments, any possible thought on why we didn't press the ball?
I mean, I feel like we've talked about the defense part pretty thoroughly by now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think didn't start pressing the ball because the thought process probably, what's been working is working, and if we go press and open ourselves up, that kind of takes us out of what our game strategy is, and then Alta might be able to take advantage of. It's kind of the not broke, don't fix it, concept.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if our guys are real. Some of the guys we had out there were really the right fit for pressing.
Yeah, it really felt like both of those things. Like, one, the team wasn't set up to press. Two, this team might not have been in that shape to fully go full press for 90 minutes and get on the ball to be high up the field. And then three, like you said, man, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if we went to go press and the guy gets out of position, know how AV Alta wants to play, where as soon as they see a vertical lane after doing like maybe 30 straight passes of horizontal back and forth, and then let's just say it's just Austin America presses up. So now he's part of that forward line who presses. Well, now there's a gap in the midfield, and Dak now is all alone the island. And now Dak's on alone the island, and then there's a chain where then Layton pushes up, and then that creates more of a chain reaction. And, we give an easy goal opportunity. So it just didn't feel like there was a need for us to press there. I'm pretty sure there's going to be opportunities, and then there are going to be certain game models where the Kickers are going to press more out of possession, but it didn't feel like it needed to be in this one.
Yeah, and like you said before, out of all the teams in the league, Alta might be the team you want to press the least because they do like to, kind of as close to tiki-taka as anybody else.
Yeah. So maybe that's up. Like, it is probably just more patient just to wait for your opportunity. And like we say, like, hey, you create your own good luck. We definitely did hit them on the break. So yeah, once again, if you have any listener questioners, make sure to send them to us. We love to answer them and talk about them here on the show. But Matt, before we wrap up, we have to talk about our next game happening in 10 days. So we will not have our normal post reaction show like we do every week after the Kickers play, because the Kickers don't play next week because the team who we was originally supposed to play decided they can't pay for their insurance.
This was always an off week.
Oh, it was? When were we supposed to play Tormenta? I thought this was a Tormenta week. Was it not?
April 4th. It's early April.
Oh, whatever. I just want to blame Tormenta. But it's an off week for us. So we have 10 days before we play Northern Virginia FC or Nova FC. We played this team once before in the U.S. Open Cup, Matt. What are your expectations for this game? How do you think Darren set this teams up, and what are your keys for success for the Kickers?
Yeah, so the number one thing is if we see bunker ball against an amateur team, I'm going to lose my mind.
There will be some concern.
That would be a sign then that, this is the plan for the year, and we're in for some eyeball bleeding type of season. So hopefully it's going to be a lot more proactive, goals, especially intentionally designed goals would be nice. First I was win, right?
Yeah.
Cup game. 100%. Find a way to get through. Like, cannot have the same nonsense that happened last year happen again. Unacceptable. There, I expect as close to a first team rollout as health allows. Second game of the season, coming off of 10-day break. I think it's going to be a combination of we're going for it, but also getting guys their sea legs underneath them.
Yeah.
So
I would expect the same. I would also expect maybe a Luca Dorado start. It would be great to see if Ethan Koss is able to play. Let me ask you this: do you think Sneddon gets a roll out in this game, or does he go Yann?
I could see either. I'm fine with either one for this game. So yeah, like I can see a change or two being made. I don't think we're going to see like a full like reserve team go out there by any means. So I think we're still going to see a lot of quote unquote first team guys starting in this game.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm expecting now. Granted, I'm saying all this, and I have no idea how Nova has their roster constructed or how they're going to play. But I'm expecting the Kickers to probably be in that mid block 4-4-2 or some variation of it, 4-3-3. So I'm not expecting anything of that to change. But like you said, Matt, I don't want to see bunker ball. I want to see the team be aggressive from the first whistle, set the tone, get this game comfortable, and then you roll out Beckett, Landon, Richmond, and allow those guys 20, 30 minutes while we're up 4-0, and we can kind of coast out. And then get ready for the big test on Saturday against FC Naples.
Yeah.
So that's what I would hope. But yeah. Once again, that game is Wednesday, March 17th. Kickers on 7 p.m., right?
That's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday? God. Once again, I'm in teacher brain. It's one of those days. It's March or Tuesday. If you are King Figures, you'll figure it out. You'll know how to be in the stadium. But yeah, whatever. We'll be there. The kickoffs at 7, right?
Probably not. They love to have their early ass kickoff times that end up being terribly inconvenient for me. And it's all about look at Font Mobs at 6:30 because
6:30,
of course.
Yeah, so we got 6:30 there. Oh, real quick, we didn't get a chance to talk about it on the last podcast, but the Kickers have been given 3 national televised games. One against Charleston Battery, so we have the oldest derby in U.S. American soccer, well, Southern soccer really, back. That's a USO Open Cup game. That's on national TV. What's the other game? Was it Boise? That's the other televised game.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
I can't remember. But I know there's another home game, and then we have Fort Wayne on the road, which is a televised game. So 3 televised games for the Kickers there as well. But Matt, anything else for you, sir, before we wrap up today's show?
Don't think so. If we get results on the road, I can learn to live with this. Wouldn't mind being exciting and getting results at the same time.
Yeah. Definitely stolen points on the road. But you know what? Hey, I will gladly do that because you know what? Last year, this team wasn't able to do that and play defensively solid as well. So hopefully we can keep the defense going forward. The offense catches up and we can keep this train moving forward. But for all that being said, for Matt, myself, and the rest of the crew, we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day for listening to our show. Without you, we wouldn't want to do this. We couldn't do this. So once again, thank you for listening to River City United. Remember to hit that like, share, subscribe button. Share with a friend and help grow our podcast. And with all that being said, we will see you guys in stadium for the first home game of the 2026 season, the U.S. Open Cup game. Come say hello to us. We'll be glad to meet you. The Kickers are back. We got a point in the road. Can't be mad about it. But we'll wrap up the show. See you guys next time. Be easy and be safe.